You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 19th meeting for the LaPorte County Board of Zoning Appeals. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Okay. Good evening. I would like to call the regular Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for May 19th to order. If you would stand for the pledge. Eric, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I see we have kind of a big crowd, so before I go any further, I just want to remind everybody, if you have your cell phone with you, to silence it, and that public comment for this board is in the form of remonstrance. So you can speak in favor for a petition or against a petition, and that is the extent of public comment. So with that, could I get a roll call, please?
Melissa Mischke,
Present.
Anthony Oss,
Present.
Eric Poynton,
Here.
Jeff Baltes,
Here.
Ernie Schmidt.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. So let's go ahead with petition number 1 this evening is a petition for variance of developmental standards for Kenneth and Mary McAtee for continuation to reside in the mobile home at a property located at 7421 East Point Road, New Carlisle, Hudson Township, zoned R1B on .36 acres.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. Good evening. If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Deborah Jerkowski.
Could I get you to get a little close?
Deborah Jerkowski at 7401 East Point Road, New Carlisle, Indiana 46552.
Okay. And are you family member?
Her daughter.
Her
Their
daughter. Okay. When was the last time we granted you a variance?
Well, that was my fault. I screwed that up. Since 2010, when you guys first implemented this, I come every 3 years. Mm-hmm. And when I went up to see Janet, I said, I'm here for my 3 years. And she's like, it's been 4. So that was my fault. I've done it every 3 years prior to that, except for COVID when we did it online through the Zoom. But other than that, I've done it every 3 years. And my father passed away. Mm-hmm. And so that was totally my fault. I screwed that up.
Okay. How is mom doing?
Okay. She needs a lot of help. She's 86. She's on oxygen, not 24/7, but she is on oxygen and meds and help with groceries and doctor's appointments, that type of stuff.
Okay. Let's see if we have any remonstrators this evening for this petition. Is there anyone here for or against petition number 1? Any remonstrators for petition number 1? Final call. Anybody in favor or against petition number 1? Okay. Hearing and seeing none. Questions from the board? I will say, Deborah, you remember that at the end of the variance, there's no renting of the
No, the
mobile
trailer
home,
comes down.
and it comes down. Okay.
And I've agreed to that numerous
Very good.
times.
I just want to make sure for the record that you're aware of
100%.
it.
I just asked that, my ask has always been that she's able to finish out her day. At the last
Absolutely.
meeting, it was both of them, but now her. And then, yes, it will be removed immediately.
I'll make a motion to keep with the same variance on the 3-year time. Oh, sorry. Make a motion to continue with this variance on the 3-year time schedule unless otherwise,
I won't screw it up this time.
Okay.
I'll second.
Madam President, I know that in the past was similar situations involving these types of petitions that the 3-year period has been extended in some cases, so that is certainly something that could be considered potentially. In my own private practice, I know you had one extended out 6 years, I believe. So just as a matter for this petition or moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we vote, I believe that the board has given permission for the building commissioner to make some of these discretionary decisions as well. So if we approve this, it could fall under that. That work? Okay. So I have a motion and a second to approve the variance for 3 years renewable. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Petition number 2 this evening is a petition for variance of developmental standards for J. Junkind for placement of one shipping container 8 feet by 40 feet to the rear of the home for personal storage. The property is located at 7985 North Holling Boulevard, New Carlisle, Hudson Township, zoned R1B.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi.
Would you state your name and address for the record?
J. Jonkine, 7853 North Hickory Lane, New Carlisle.
And Jay, what is it that you need to store that the storage containers necessary?
I'm getting it to block the neighbor, and that way any stuff outside can be secured. There is a shed there already that we're going to tear down the shed.
Are there any remonstrators this evening for petition number 2? Is the neighbor here?
I know the neighbors. I had another question too. If you grant the variance, does it stay with the property or with?
Stays with the property. Mhm. If it gets approved, yep. Okay, any remonstrators for petition number 2? Anybody for or against? Okay, one last call. Anybody for or against petition number 2? Questions from the board? If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
This really doesn't have anything to do with anything on your property necessarily. You're looking for storage and, like you said, storage.
It's a rental of mine, so the renters will use it as like a shed.
Okay.
Okay, if there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion not to allow the storage container.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion to not grant the variance and a second. Is that true? Okay. All those in favor of denying the petition, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay. I'm sorry it
All right,
didn't pass.
thank you.
Have a good night. Okay. Petition number 3 is a petition for variance of developmental standards for Alan Shaw for placement of a 20 feet by 8 feet shipping container on property for storage of farm equipment. The property is located at 3455 West, 400 North, LaPorte, Center Township, zoned R1B on 5 acres.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
If you would state your name and address for the record.
Alan Shaw, 3455 West, 400 North in LaPorte.
Alan, you need to do some storage as well. So storage container, what kind of items?
Farm equipment, tractor, chipper, 2 mowers, and a variety of other gasoline and diesel equipment.
Do we have any remonstrators tonight for this petition? Anybody for or against petition number 3? Any remonstrators for petition number 3? Okay, last call. Anybody for or against this petition? Questions from the board?
I see the container's already present on the property. Did we not know about a variance for it, or?
Well, what happened was, it's kind of a long story, but I forgot to call the guy. I went over, I got the variance, or did all the paperwork, but I forgot to call him and cancel it. And that's how it ended up there.
Do you have any questions? Thank you. Okay, if there are no further questions from the board, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny the petition.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to deny the petition and a second. All those in favor of denying signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The petition was denied, 3-2.
Is there any kind of appeal?
You can speak with the building commissioner at a later date. You can also reapply after a year.
Thank you.
Okay, petition number 4 this evening is a petition of variance of developmental standards for Seal and Michael Tristano for construction of a home on 1 acre parcel without road frontage and having legal egress ingress. The property is located at 735 East, 600 North, Galena Township, zoned ag on 1 acre.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. If you guys would please state your name and addresses for the record, and you might need to move the microphone around so you can.
Seal Tristano, 755 East, 600 North, LaPorte, Indiana.
Okay.
Michael Tristano, 755 East 600 North, LaPorte.
Okay. Go ahead.
Cheryl Rothwell, 535 East 600 North, hopefully soon to be 735 East 600 North.
Okay. So my question is, this was a very large parcel at one point, right? There's
Still
like
is.
4 or 5 separated out parcels.
Still has 26 acres in the conservation district.
Then on the north side, there's some additional
Correct.
parcels.
And the parcels that are on the frontage road, there's one of ours that's at 535 East 600 North, where my mother-in-law lives now. Then there's still part of the conservation district to the east of that. And then there's 601, which is a parcel that my daughter lives in now. And then everything behind that, about, I don't know how many feet it goes. So we have 26 additional acres. In addition to that, and our home is 800 feet north of the frontage road as well, about 600 north.
So the parcel that is existing, the one that we're talking about for the home, is 1 acre, and you have removed it from the
We have removed it from the
classified
conservation,
forest.
yes, and we've paid the back taxes on it.
Okay.
And we've done the ingress egress.
So is there any reason why you didn't split the parcel with any road frontage?
Yeah, because there's a house in front of it, my daughter's.
There is.
Right, I see that, but there's still, I mean, you said 26 acres out of 26 acres?
It's all north.
Right, but out of 26 acres, you couldn't find anywhere along the road to put
There
that
was one
1 acre
spot.
parcel?
There was one spot, but all the utilities had previously been laid there.
It also was
Okay.
only 148 feet.
I'm going to need you in the microphone if you're going to speak.
It was
Thank you.
It was also only 148 feet wide.
Well, 148 feet is way better than 0. So let's see what we got.
We were told that we couldn't build there by the utility companies.
Okay. Okay, well, let's see first if there are any remonstrators for this petition. If you would like to have a seat, let's hear from some remonstrators.
Certainly.
Sir, if you'd like to come up.
Neutral.
Brian Nelson, 767 East, 600 North, LaPorte, Indiana, 46350.
Okay, and which direction are you from?
I would be directly, my property borders the east.
Okay,
My west side borders their east side.
gotcha. And
And I just have concerns on the single driveway. There's already 3 houses on the property. I'm just wondering, is this becoming like a mini subdivision, or, are there more properties coming in, more houses, more? That's my concern.
Okay, very good, thank you. Are there any other remonstrators this evening for this? You can come up when I ask you to. Are there any other remonstrators for this petition? Anyone in favor or against? Any remonstrators? Okay, ma'am, if you'd like to come back up. I know when I'm looking at this, I'm counting at least 3 residences.
Would be correct.
And
but those
you
were-
guys all share one single driveway.
No, that is not true.
Okay.
601.
Can you put the microphone
Sorry,
down so I
I'm
can
short.
get you? Thank you.
601 East 600 North has the appropriate frontage. That is a separate property that was separate before we bought the rest of the acreage. It was owned by a Mr. Tibbs at the time.
Okay.
When Mr. Tibbs went into a nursing home, his family came to us and asked us if we wished to purchase it, which we did. My daughter then purchased it from us. The property at 535 East 600 North, where my mother-in-law currently lives, also was previously out of our district before we purchased the property. And that was owned by a couple who got divorced. And during the divorce, we made an offer and they accepted it. So we did not build any of those parcels. They were previously there.
Okay,
This
what
is
about
the
the
first. This is the first one that we're asking for, and it's for family. We
So-
have no intentions of subdividing, putting on more houses.
The buildings that are in the middle of the property, basically, are they sharing a driveway?
No, they
with
each
this
have their own
potential-
driveways and frontages.
I think we must be looking at different maps then. Would you approach?
So this is where you want to build.
Correct.
What are these?
That's my home and my pole barn.
And where is the driveway for that and the road frontage?
It comes all the way this way, and then it comes down. The only part she would be sharing would be the part from the southern tip of her, the southeast tip of
We
that
need
down
to
here.
draw where this driveway is.
Here, right in front. It starts all the way over here, and then it comes around and it comes out over here.
It crosses two parcels?
No, I own all of this.
Right.
It doesn't,
That's what these orange lines are, parcel lines.
Right.
oh, no, it doesn't cross any, I'm sorry. It comes, this is the front of my house. It comes this way and then down that way. Yeah,
On the east side.
on the east side of the property, yeah.
Great, thank you.
All the other,
So
Can you draw that on
if the driveway is, so it's coming off of 600 North?
Correct.
On the,
It's on the next.
east side of my property and on the west side of Mr. Nelson's.
so this proposed home site would share that driveway with you?
Yes, for that short period from the southeast corner.
What is the measurement of the road frontage on there?
At one point, we were told when I had it, purchased it, it was 79 feet, I believe.
Okay.
I believe it was 79 feet.
And is the, hold on, what kind of questions does the board have?
I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out the driveway situation. What was the center buildings?
Those are her home.
That's my home in
Your
Pole
current
Barn.
home?
My current home in Pole Barn. And we have not put up any residences on any of those properties on the frontage. Those were purchased after we purchased our property and built our home.
My question would be, I see a dedicated easement shown on the survey you provided for ingress egress. Is there a maintenance agreement or some sort of maintenance plan that's going to be filed with that?
Yes.
To make sure that we always know who's responsible for maintaining that drive?
First of all, we'll always be responsible, but she has agreed to help.
Okay,
for her
just so as
portion,
long as
yes.
it's at
Oh,
some
yeah.
point in the future, someone, so for
No, we.
public safety needs, someone needs to get back to a parcel that,
Exactly.
Absolutely. No, it will be maintained.
What about you guys? Questions?
I think I got it.
Okay, if there are no further questions from the board, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the variance as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Those opposed, same sign, aye. Good luck,
you.
and I would recommend that you get that easement recorded with,
Already has been recorded.
okay, make sure you get it all, and addresses displayed.
Have it all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Petition number 5 this evening is a petition for variance of developmental standards for Travis Wallen for construction of a pole barn with a bathroom, not to be used as a dwelling, for storage, and to work on personal vehicles, and to have a camper there while working on the property. There is no house on this property located east of 7863 North Maiden Lane, New Carlisle, Hudson Township, zoned R1B. Travis, are you here with
Notice
us?
is adequate.
Thank you. Travis, are you here with us? Okay, so I don't see him. We're going to move him down to the end and deal with that at the end of the meeting. Petition number 6 this evening is a variance of developmental standards for Randy and Mildred McCullough for construction of a second home to care for elderly parents. The property is located at 2735 West, 450 North LaPorte, Center Township, zoned ag on 4.73 acres.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hello.
If you would state your name and address for the record.
Randy McCullough, 2735 West 450 North, LaPorte.
Mildred McCullough, 2735 West, 450 North, LaPorte.
Okay, so Randy, you and Mildred live at this property currently?
Yes.
And you're going to build another structure for your elderly parents?
No, for our daughter, to care for us.
There you go. All right. Very good. And it looks like the house is proposed to go on the east side of your property?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any remonstrators tonight for this petition? Anybody in favor or against petition number 6? Any remonstrators for petition number 6? Okay, let's see what kind of questions the board has.
Do you have an idea of how large?
Make sure your mic.
Do you have an idea of how large the second home would be?
28 by 70 approximately. That might change just a little, but not much.
1,800 square feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
If the board were to approve this petition, you understand that when the home is no longer needed for yourselves, that it is not going to be allowed to be rented out.
That's
Right.
not the purpose, yeah. We also have a classified forest. and
Okay.
We hope that that can be maintained well after we're no longer here.
Okay. I wish my kids were watching the meeting right now. Okay.
Good luck.
If there are no further questions from the board, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Congratulations.
Thank
Work with the
you.
building commissioner's office for all your permits.
So when do we do that? Now?
You can call tomorrow after 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Last week I got my papers all and it was terrible.
Last week was terrible.
Okay.
We had them.
Petition number 7 this evening is a petition for variance of use for Development Alliance LLC for operating a convenience store with a fuel canopy having 4 pumps with 8 refueling stations. The property is located at 7089 West, 400 North, Michigan City, Cool Spring Township, zoned B1 on 1.45 acres.
Start stealing it.
Can you make sure a copy for our attorney as well? Thank you. Thank you.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, if you would state your name and addresses for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Ross Brown with Integrated Construction Solutions, 11035 Broadway, Crown Point, Indiana.
And I am Adam McAlpine with McAlpine Consulting. My address is 398 East, 400 North in Valparaiso, Indiana.
All right, it's been a year since we've heard this petition. So why don't you tell me what your plans are here?
So we're here on behalf of the purchaser, Good Oil Company, Inc., as well as the Petitioner Development Alliance, LLC. And this is regarding a request for a special exception on B1 zoning district to operate a convenience store with fuel sales. It's a 1.45 acre parcel with an existing 4,700 square foot vacant shell building at 7089 West 400 North, Michigan City. We anticipate the site to be a BP branded location with 4 pumps, which allows for 8 fueling positions. A little bit of background on the subject parcel. The property's been vacant for approximately 8 years, has a laundry list of deed restrictions on it from the previous owner, which greatly limits the use. Currently, the property is assessed at $184,000 and generates about $3,540 in property taxes. We anticipate that upon completion of the project, should you grant your approval, that the investment would be around $3 million, and the new tax generated would fall somewhere around $40,000 plus a year. Now, given the location of the property, based on the characteristics of the intersection and kind of how things have grown there over the years, it presents an excellent location for this use. And one thing that we did was, obtain a impact study, environmental impact study, which supports, this use at this location and that it would fit in with the neighborhood. And we understand that there was a prior application made, as you referenced, approximately a year ago. And, one thing we like to do typically is we like to try to get in contact with neighbors ahead of time to talk to them, let them know what our plans are. Because a lot of people, don't like to see the convenience stores, gas stations come in there.
How did that go?
So we sent out about 10 certified letters. The remonstrators that we read in the meeting minutes, 2 of them showed. I think 2 of them are in the audience tonight, I believe.
Okay.
One of them that showed up is not here. And as we talked to them and reviewed the meeting minutes, we noticed that a lot of reoccurring concerns come up from them, and that we hear from, a lot of concerned citizens in the areas we work in. So one of the things that we told them we were going to do is get this impact study that we presented to you tonight. And, based on these concerns, that impact study from a third independent party addresses several topics: land use and zoning, water resources and stormwater management, soils and groundwater protection, air quality, traffic and noise, solid and hazardous waste management. The conclusion in that document states, based on the analysis conducted and incorporation of the best management practices and regulatory compliance measures, the proposed gas station development is not expected to result in significant adverse environmental impacts to the surrounding area. The project has been designed to protect soil, groundwater, air quality, and surrounding land uses while supporting local economic development. And a few things that I'd like to address that is in that impact study and correlates to some of the concerns, some of the primary concerns that were brought up last year and during our meeting with a couple of remonstrators. There's concern about water wells, which is a very valid concern for everybody.
I'm sorry, you said water wells?
Yes, private wells that
Okay.
people are drinking out
I'm
of.
sorry, go ahead.
My apologies. The recommended distance is 100 feet between a petroleum storage system and a water well. Closest well to this location is about 200 feet, maybe more. One of the gentlemen that showed up to our meeting lives approximately 950 feet away. So he should be very safe from the tanks at this site. And also, there was some mention of obviously the tanks that go in the ground. And in 2016, the federal government mandated that these tanks need to be double-walled to create interstitial space. That interstitial space is monitored by an AGT system that can pick up as small as 3.2 cups per hour. So those leak detection systems are very accurate, and they have to be monitored monthly. Reports have to be kept. And there were some other concerns, and a paper that was referenced from, Johns Hopkins University, and that document was theoretical. They created it in their offices, didn't use any real-world examples. For instance, there's a concern brought up about gas spillage on the concrete. It penetrates about 2 to 3 inches into concrete, and it evaporates. If you were to take, a cup of gas, dump it on the ground, maybe it goes 4 inches into the soil. So you're not getting any groundwater contamination from things like that. One of the other concerns that was brought up was lighting. That remonstrator is not here tonight, and he had concerns. There was a development across from his house, I believe it's the Swanson Center, and he gets a lot of light coming into his front yard. He's located about 1,000 feet away as well. He's right next door to the other remonstrator. So we told him we would get a photometric plan done to show that the light generated on our site stays on our site. And I believe that's part of your package, Adam. We're also going to recess the lights in the canopy. So usually you see those lights hang down from a canopy and they kind of cast out. We're going to recess these so the light shines more straight down. And again, he's well on the other side of the volunteer fire station, so really should not be impacted by any lighting from this development. Probably has more impact from the lights from his neighbor's house. Traffic was another concern. INDOT, their guidelines are that 75% of traffic generated from a convenience store gas station is from pass-by traffic. Means it's traffic that's already there, and they're stopping in to get gas, get a Coke, whatever it may be. I would probably argue in this instance it's going to be much closer to 90 or 100%. People aren't going to drive from the other side of the county or the city to stop here and get a Coke or gas. They're driving by. They're not pulling off of a highway. And one of the things is that, although this is a special exception in a B1, the concept, from my understanding, in B1 is to serve the convenience and services for the local community. We would do that through the convenience store itself, and gas stations are actually considered a vital service in a community.
And just so everyone knows, if there were no gas or petroleum in this petition, a convenience store is allowed in this in this zoning.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
it's not the convenience store that's the issue.
Yes, ma'am.
It's concerns over the tanks.
Understood. Other comments were made about there's really no need for another gas station in this area. There's some other ones close by. Our client has done feasibility studies which warrant a gas station here. Otherwise, they wouldn't be making a $3 million investment in the site.
Sure.
And I think that that's further supported by other local landowners and other local gas station operators contacting the owner of the property now and over the last year trying to purchase the property to put a gas station in so they can add another location to theirs. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's, maybe a gas station remonstrator owner or two here. I wouldn't want competition either. It's going to make me invest more in my property to keep up with the new gas station down the street. Stormwater runoff was another concern which comes up all the time, no matter what development you do. And there are rules and codes that any developer needs to follow. We will follow those to the T, and Adam can talk more about that as he's the expert. And with that, I'll hand it over to Mr. McAlpine.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ross. All right, good evening. So my role as a civil engineer is to work with my client to make sure that the project is feasible. And what I have presented to you this evening are 60% design plans. Until we find out the outcome of this meeting, we're not intending to continue further with the design. But at this point, I just want to kind of gloss over some of the highlights of these plans.
Thank you.
As you may know, this was formerly the Cool Spring Township Public Library. They have since moved across the street. And now we intend or hope to make this a convenience store and gas station. So that's sheet 2, just shows what the existing conditions are with the existing building on the west side and the asphalt parking lot there in the middle, and there's the volunteer fire department off to the west neighbor. Sheet 3 is just a demolition plan. This is what we would show a contractor, just detailing which trees would be removed, the pavement that would be removed, and really the area that's to the east is where they would be burying the tank, and that would be expanding for this fuel canopy. Sheet 4 really gets into the site geometry and illustrates that it is possible to do a project of this nature on this property within the setbacks without violating any setbacks. So what you see there is that box shape which represents the canopy. 4 pumps, 8 refueling stations, circulation traffic around the perimeter. That rectangle with the number 2, that's where the buried gas tank would be located. And then over time we would have to prove out that this could handle the truck turn movements, but we've set it up at this stage to be able to, with some confidence that it could. And then the entrances that are there today would remain the same. Nothing is changing with how people used to access the former library. So we're not proposing to change those uses. I feel they're safely, a good safe distance away from the adjacent intersection. It was worked before, and and there are safe turning movements to and from those roadways. Sheet 5 illustrates 2 things that I want to point out. One is the existing well. That is the existing well for this property. And what you see there is a 200-foot radius around that. So for a commercial property, you have to make sure that there are no contaminants within that 200-foot wellhead. And so the nearest wellhead is on this property, and all sources of contamination are an adequate distance away from that drinking water supply. On this property, we would be replacing the existing septic system, and that is a process that has to be routed and coordinated with the Indiana State Department of Health. The existing septic system that is there, besides being an old and aged system, is just not large enough for a building of this use. So you have to go to the state and say, we're planning to build a gas station and convenience store. They would they would tell you what your daily flow is, and you would size the leach field. And but we have adequate room. That's my point. And so that would be to the south. And then the 2 more points, please. Sheet 6 is intended to illustrate how stormwater would be managed on the property. So right now there is an existing catch basin which goes into the center of the parking lot, and then that's routed into a nearby storm sewer system. What we would propose to do, and we would coordinate all of this through all of the proper procedures with LaPorte County, is to route all of that added runoff east and into a pond which would capture, hold, and allow that water to soak in to the ground. And that's how, but as you can see, the canopy is collecting pure runoff. Anything that is below the canopy, any sources of spills, there are spill kits at gas stations. It would be not in the direct line of runoff that would head off into the pond. So that's important, and that's the case at several gas stations. And then the last item is the site lighting and photometrics plan. The last sheet in your plan set illustrates, there's several, it's a grid with various numbers, and those numbers represent the brightness from the lights. So when you look at a site lighting and photometrics plan, what you key in on, besides just making sure that the patrons have adequate light, in the business itself to get safely into the convenience store, but on the perimeters, it goes down to 0. And those are the figures that the LaPorte County officials will look at closely to make sure that there's no light casting onto neighbors. And with light poles today, you have the ability to shine them into the site and keep those requirements in place. That's all I have, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Do we have any remonstrators tonight? Anybody in favor or against this petition? All right. If you'd like to come up, please, and state your name and address for the record.
All right.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Edward Lake, and I am from 7241 West 400 North, and I stand opposed to this zoning variance. So last year on May 20th, we met about this issue, and the board agreed with our concerns and unanimously rejected the zoning appeal. So I just want to restate some of my concerns with this gas station. Number one, having a gas station at this site poses serious health risks to the residents in this area. First, the gas station presents a well-documented risk to our local water table. So gas stations are a known source of petroleum contamination due to leaks from underground storage tanks, piping failures, and fuel spills. Even with modern safeguards, such incidents continue to occur and are frequent enough to warrant an entire program tracked by the Indiana Department of Environmental Management under its Leaking Underground Storage Tank program. So these are not rare and theoretical events. They are reoccurring environmental issues across the state, including in LaPorte County. The surrounding area includes homes that rely on well water. Unlike municipal systems, private wells do not have centralized monitoring or treatment protections, and it only takes a small amount of gasoline contamination to render well water unsafe. This is especially harmful in the areas with shallow water tables and in sandy soil, both of which we have at this location. Once contamination occurs, it can persist for years, placing a burden of testing, mitigation, and cost on homeowners. Also, once groundwater becomes contaminated, cleanup is extremely difficult, expensive, and sometimes impossible to reverse. Number two, I've also noted in the previous previously that the location of this gas station will certainly increase accidents. So vehicles turning westbound onto 400 North are going to have crashes, and cars exiting the gas station. People turn there very quickly, and the exiting, it's likely to cause some serious issues. This will also cause increased congestion and presents a hindrance to the fire station in the adjacent property, which needs to have clear access to roads in case of emergencies. Delays caused by congestion near fire stations could put lives at risk. And number 3, when considering zoning appeals, one of the considerations is whether this establishment will benefit the community. And it doesn't seem that this gas station is needed. There's a Marathon gas station less than 0.7 miles away on the same road, and a Family Express 1.3 miles from that. So in conclusion, this is not a minimal or technical variance. It poses serious environmental, health, and safety hazards to the community. And these zoning decisions should prioritize the protection of existing residents and not expose the community to preventable environmental and safety risks. Once again, I thank the board for this time.
Thank you. Ma'am, if you'd like to come forward. Come forward, please, and state your name and address for the record.
Why do they put those so high? My name is Rick Bradford. I live on 3647 North Wozniak Road. I own property that is adjacent to the fire department. I thank you for letting us speak here. Mr. Lake brought up the water. The water table is very shallow there. Not only does the fire department, but my property next to that and the property next to that are all artesian wells. So that is a certain concern. I also agree that I don't see that as being positive for our neighborhood. I haven't heard anybody say, boy, we sure need another store to buy some gas and some cigarettes and a six-pack, right here in our neighborhood. I didn't have the time or money to do an impact or feasibility study. I was a remonstrator last time. I was not contacted. I'm sure that was just an oversight. I would have shown had I known that they wanted to talk. But concerning being a good neighbor, in my neighborhood, a good neighbor doesn't have hundreds of cars coming and going all day and night. We didn't discuss the hours, and there are a lot of businesses in the area. All of them have 9 to 5 hours. I'm sure that a convenience store, gas station would need to be open a lot longer than that. The existing library parking ingress and egress is very narrow. Anybody that's ever driven by there, I would hope that anybody that is concerned would go by there and just drive into it and say, how would I get in or out of here? If the curbing is not going to be changed, I think that one of our gentlemen that spoke ahead said he thinks maybe they can get a truck in there. They're going to plan on getting a truck in there to put fuel. Also said that there would be runoff, place to hold runoff to the east. I think they also said that the tanks were going to be to the east. So I'm not sure exactly how all of that is going to work out. My main concern is, on top of those, is the safety. If anybody has driven by there, I was there today, I'm there every day. There were 8 cars backed up past from the light to the north or west. It would be on Johnson Road, without people wanting to stop and get into that parking lot or try to get out of that parking lot. The fire department has traffic now, people avoiding the stop sign, cutting through.
Thank you.
I'll make it short, no joke. Anyway, trying to get in and out of there and avoid the light as it is. That would greatly impact us getting trucks in and out of the fire department. I see my time is up. Thank you.
Thank you. And I let him go a little bit longer because I failed to remind everybody that we have a 3-minute limit on remonstrance. So if you have any remonstrance, I'd like you to come forward, please. And of course, I'd like to hear something. Yes, ma'am, I'm talking to you. Anything new than that has not been already stated? State your name and address for the record.
My name is Kathy White, and I'm from 7298 Johnson Road.
Okay.
My concern is at the volunteer fire department, they have the baby box. And in all the businesses around, like Rick said, are 9 to 5 businesses. And if there's a gas station or convenience store there, that's going to be lights, there's going to be people, and that defeats the purpose of having somebody drop off a baby. And I know they have had a couple of them so far and have had great success. And that my concern is having a business there that's open. So one can't do
Very
that.
good. Thank you.
That's my concern.
Anybody else? Would you like to come forward, please? Hi there.
I'm Rory Bunce, 374 North Timber Ridge Road in LaPorte.
Rory, could I get you to pull that mic up?
Sure.
Rick had to drag it down there, so.
No problem. I'm actually the owner. I own Development Alliance. I purchased the property, and the property was actually vacant, as they said, since 2017. I purchased the property, tried to improve the property, and tried to resell the property. We did approach a year ago. It's very interesting that when you sign a petition or when you want a variance, the owner has to sign. Quite frankly, I'm not putting the gas station in. I wasn't the last one. The last one we had, quite frankly, was a shoestring operation, and I regret that we came because they did nothing. I heard exactly what the board said and the remonstrators, and what happened was we had 4 other gas stations approach us for the same location. This was the first person that took a responsive approach to what they were doing and wanted to do the studies and wanted to answer all the concerns, and so we went under contract to do that. A couple of the topics that were brought up. I really appreciate the fact that she brought up the baby box. The fire department did come to us, and they had no idea what we were doing. So they were like, that is there, if you could be conscious of it. We offered to put trees on their side of the fence to block that from our property, and we said that we would work with them, whether it was the gas station or it wasn't. We were sensitive to the issue. The other thing that I think needs to be brought up is that this is a commercial. It's designated as commercial. So when you start to talk about traffic patterns and how late something's going to be open and what it's going to do, a lot of those concerns are going to be transferred to whatever the business is, quite frankly. If it's a business, it's going to have traffic. The other thing that's interesting is last month, this body approved another 2 or 3 parcels to be commercial across the street. So there.
You would be incorrect. That is not this board's job. Those zoning changes are through our plan commission.
Okay. Well, it was, I appreciate you correcting me, but it was approved for them to take 2 homes and I think 2 additional lots and change it to a commercial designation. So commercial's heading in that direction, and it's just the reality of it. So I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any other remonstrators after this one? I'd like to see a show of hands. Okay, looks like you're going to be the last one. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Donna Hagenow. I live at 6183 West 400 North, LaPorte, Indiana. I have lived out there most of my life, more than 50 years. I disagree with them saying the traffic flow. I have seen it over the years get worse and worse and worse. Something right there, it's even going to be more traffic, more accidents, kids getting to school, school buses, the fire department. And me being up in age, if I need the fire department and they're blocked in, then what? I have taken it upon myself. I have a petition that I had done. I have more than 100 signatures in the neighborhood that does not want it. I was never approached, and I live on 400. I have seen all the businesses grow that is there. That's my concern.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to mention to everybody who thinks that they didn't get notified and it was nefarious, adjoining property owners are who gets notified from a zoning hearing. So if your property does not touch that property, that's why you didn't get a notification. So, okay. That's all the remonstrators this evening. What kind of questions do we have from the board?
If you guys,
Yeah, if you'd like to come.
if you guys want to come back, they touched on hours. I have hours wrote down as well. I know we talked about that last year. What was your guys' projected hours?
We expect 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. catching people going to work and maybe coming home from work, and then we would close.
Ross, if I could get you to get that microphone down so we can get you on record. And that's Monday through Sunday. Or I'm sorry, Sunday through Saturday.
Yes.
7 days
yes,
a week.
yes.
Okay. And that lighting is going to be, again, pointing down so we don't have light pollution all over the place.
Yes, ma'am, and I think that, photometric plans are kind of hard to read, especially when they're like 11 by 17. But I believe you'll be able to see it demonstrates that we're at 0 at the property line, and certainly, we don't want to interfere with a baby box. So that light is not going off the property. And I think that we would be happy to add some additional landscaping or whatever we may need to do.
I think the landscaping would be nice, and I believe that given the nature of the baby box, I know I can't tell you not to have CCTV in that direction, but I think it's something that you should consider placement if we approve it.
Yeah, that seems like a very worthwhile thing to do. What's really interesting? So I can't separate the site design from the refueling canopy because they overlap. But what's really wonderful about this property is the mature tree canopy. And we did everything we could when I sent out our horticulturist. He did a tree assessment. There are a lot of dead trees, and those are being taken out. And there are some that are less quality or in the way. But around the well at the kind of the northern end, there's a lot of mature trees which are being left intact. And so, and really, as you look at the sheet 3 demo plan, there are really only 3 trees being taken out. So besides all of the light being shining east toward the refueling stations, I mean, with the exception of maybe an egress door that might be illuminated, there's no light. And that would just certainly not make it beyond that mature tree canopy. But I just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
I guess I have one more question on light. Is there going to be a obnoxious sign out by the road that has a bunch of light pollution on it? Like a big LED sign with
pricing,
price of fuel and stuff?
Sure. There will be signage. We would propose signage. But, we will,
Well,
work
we'd like
with.
to know what kind of signage you're proposing.
Sure.
We'll need to know that tonight.
And do you have that information by chance?
I don't. Right now, there is the former sign. I would imagine that the business sign would go in there. It would be a ground-mounted sign in all likelihood, conforming to the county's requirements. But at this stage of design, I don't have that information.
It'd be a monument sign. It would be likely towards the corner and away from the residential for the most part. It'll be on the commercial side, and it wouldn't be on all night.
So if we were to approve this, we would approve a sign at the time of this petition. You would have to come back in front of us for a sign, and you're aware of that, should it get approved.
I was unaware of that.
But I would say that the refueling canopy is paramount to the project. Having that is kind of a go, no go. What we'll do moving forward is do everything we can to conform with the county standards, and where we deviate, we'll be back in front of you. But some of those are not, if we don't get it signed exactly how we wish, the project's still moving forward. I would go on.
Yeah, and we would do something, subject to, I don't know what the council may say, or but we can certainly have something designed, and if you would, approve something subject to approval related to signage. I'm not sure.
We do have guidelines in the JZO that we could
Have them follow.
Okay.
And we would follow, whatever guidelines are necessary. One thing I'd like to say is, it might have been the second to last remonstrator gentleman that said he didn't get a notice. I do apologize. We sent the notice. I think your rental is.
I want to remind you that you're addressing the board and not the audience.
But
Thank you.
I believe his rental is there. That's where the certified letter went to, not to the deeded owner's house.
Okay. What other questions?
So you have an existing drain. Where does that water go when this
Right now,
project transpires?
the existing drain goes south and to a storm sewer system, which is along 400.
Okay.
That's where it goes.
And you're going to continue to, sorry, Ernie.
Go ahead.
You're going to continue to have that drain there, even in the new project?
We'll have to work that out. Right now it is there, and it seems reasonable that it was working before. So long as the system works, we would continue to use that. The plan, at least in my mind for the time being, is that any of the new improvements would be directed east to the
retention pond.
Because when you manage stormwater,
I'll take care.
You look at what's existing and then what's new. And depending on the municipality, many times you only have to manage what the new hard surface that you're creating.
Right. So we're going to require all of the stormwater to be managed, but it isn't like you're including a lot more surface area for impervious surfaces. You're just talking about the runoff from the canopy itself.
Right. But that, I mean, is a 60% design. If
Sure.
you
And again,
came to me and said it all needs to be managed, well, then that's how I would.
and again, that's going to go through the county MS4 coordinator. We're not going to give you guidance on something that isn't our responsibility.
Yeah, all I wanted to show you this evening is that where we intend to manage stormwater runoff is to the east as of today.
And Adam, maybe you could touch on the ingress, egress.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
increasing the flares. Is that?
Yeah, right now the tapers that are there as you enter and exit will be widened. We'll look at those radii more closely to make sure that there's sufficient turning radius for the vehicles coming in and out, and we have to do that for the refueling trucks,
right?
More particularly.
Just the gas leakage run off into? Where do you propose that goes with this plan?
Can you repeat your question, please?
If there's gas spillage, where does that go in relation to what you have planned? To go into this existing drain? Is it going to go?
Going to go to that retention pond.
Yeah. So if
retention pond, what's your plans?
If there's leaks from a pump, it would depends on the quantity. There are a number of things at a gas station. You could shut off the source.
Spill kit.
There could be a spill kit. It could be around the immediate vicinity of the pump itself. Just I don't have to explain all the details, but it would be in the near vicinity of the source. If it was an uncontrolled release, then that would be directed to the east and into the detention pond. And over a certain volume of release, you're required to contact the State Department of Environmental Management, and the fire department, which is right next door, would come out with their equipment to manage that type of situation. And then again, depending on the type of situation, the soil would be remediated, disposed of properly. There are a number of protocols that are followed when a spill occurs. It's not, you don't just forget that it occurred with today's laws. You have to manage whatever has happened.
Thank you.
Tony,
You mentioned deed restrictions. Can you just outline a little bit what the difficulties are presented through deed restrictions that are on the property?
Property owner could probably.
Said that there wasn't much they could do with the property because of deed restrictions.
Oh, that's right.
Do you want me to restate?
No, go ahead, please. Just if you'll address the questions.
Yeah, the hospital was
into the
owner.
microphone.
Sorry, the hospital was the owner before, and they actually have a non-compete for services. It's approximately 38 pages, and it's for 100 years, that it cannot be. Now, we had to work on the language a little bit, because I reminded them when I bought it that they have a gift shop. Does that mean I can't do, a gift shop? They sell food. Could we not do food? So we had to tweak it, but it really comes down to medical. And they even have to sign off if I do services that they don't do. So chiropractic, dentistry.
So things like you can't sell condoms in the convenience store. Does it come down? I'm being honest. I mean, okay.
No,
You're working with them on those restrictions, and
there's actually a written 38-page deed restriction for 100 years.
Right.
But it's basically non-medical.
Okay. So you feel like you can meet the requirements?
Depended on the end use.
With
this, yes, it's not a problem at all. And they've already given me a waiver to say we're no problem with them.
What else, Tony?
I mean, the other one's kind of procedural. I mean, you mentioned other things going on at another board. Just there was mention before in the initial presentation about this being a special exception. This is not a special exception.
Correct.
This is a use variance.
Correct.
A special exception could happen if you were zoned differently, but you're not. Any reason that process is not something that you would entertain?
Again, I repeat the fact that I'm the landowner, and we have to put our name on the petition.
I get it.
But we're really, in a sense, not the petitioner, because we're not the end use. So I would sign no matter who was going for a variance. If they were going for a parking variance, I have to sign.
Sure, understood.
So,
Thank you. We've already had our time for remonstrance, Rick, I'm sorry. So if there are no further questions from the board, I guess I understand why we're not at 100% design. I wish I had something a little bit more concrete on signage and some things of that nature. But I think I'm ready to entertain a motion. Don't everybody jump up.
Can I ask one question of council first? It's the site. So if something is denied, it's 1 year for the site, or I hope you understand what I'm getting at.
It's so for example, the previous variant or the previous petition was for 7089 West 400 North. So it runs with the property. So the petition is for the property, meaning that property address. If this were, and again, I don't like to get into hypotheticals, but it runs with, the petitioner runs with the address.
Yeah.
So even if the property, I mean, in theory, if the property were to change owners, it would be my position that it runs with the address. Because that avoids then the issue of transferring ownership between individuals or between entities. If something is denied, then you get another bite at the apple with somebody whose name is just different. But it would be my position that it runs with the address.
Thank you.
But again, it could be a convenience store.
I mean, yes, it absolutely could be a convenience store without fuel. I hate to see this building sit another, how many years it's been empty? I mean, it's kind of a travesty that this building has been sitting there empty with no use, and it's just going to deteriorate more and more. And that nobody cares about that in the neighborhood, that there could be vector issues and things like that from non-use. So something to consider. But again, I'll entertain a motion. You're going to make me step down, aren't you?
I'll make a motion to approve with the hours of 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. The works very closely with Mike's office, especially regarding the sign and all those things. Work with MS4, obviously, for everything needed.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay. Your motion carried 3-2. Good luck, and we need to see some additional plans in the building commissioner's office.
Thank you.
Thank you. Petition number 8 this evening is a petition for variance of developmental standards for Gene R. Samuelson Trust for splitting a property into 2 parcels. The new property line is 10 feet in front of the barn. Front parcel with home will be 0.55 acres, and the rear will be 1.72 acres with no road frontage. Property is located at 1202 East State Road 2, LaPorte, Kankakee Township, zoned R1B on 2.261 acres.
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Douglas Samuelson. I live at 6362 East State Road 2. I am the trustee to the trust. My father has since passed away.
Can you tell me what the plans are with what the need is to split the parcel up?
Basically, the house and the front garage, my nephew is interested in keeping the Samuelson name there and staying there.
Can I stop you just for a moment?
Yes.
Thank you, Mike. They might just be leaving.
They just walk on, yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's fine. The back part of the property, which has 2 barns on it, I helped build one of them. I have a lot of pride in that. I want to keep the property. I have 2 old cars that I have collected, a 60 Vet, and I just want to have a place to have it because I'm going to downsize from my current address down the road, which has a very small lot. My nephew is really not interested in cutting all that grass, and I just want to get a variance so I can get an easement through the front driveway to get to the back property to work my garden and cut the grass. There's no plans of building anything. It's just going to stay in our family forever. So, I mean, I have no...
So who lives at
Currently, my nephew, Andy Samuelson.
1202? Okay.
He stays in the house.
And this is in a trust, the entire
is.
property?
Yes.
How do you, and currently, does the driveway go all the way to the rear?
Yes.
Okay. I have to say, I'm kind of, excuse me, a little concerned from a safety standpoint. If you're going to work on old cars and things on the back,
I'm going to really work on them. They're just a place.
They're just to store them and
and
look at them and wipe them down with a diaper.
Yeah, I'm not going to have a repair facility, anything like that. You know, it's just to keep the property in the family and. You know, no issues as far as that goes.
And he's not okay with you just going and using the property? Leave it as is?
You know, I look at when I pass away, if it could ever change where my kids and Andy do not see eye to eye, I want them to have the ability to go back there and still keep the cars. But Andy has no intentions of wanting to cut all the property and take care of the property. I currently have cut the grass for 30 years, so I will continue to do that.
Do we have any remonstrators tonight for this petition? Anybody for or against it? Any remonstrators? And last check, any remonstrators for or against? Okay, questions from the board?
You got nothing?
So have you had a survey done of this at all?
The furthest I've gone is I talked to John Saylor what it would take to do it, and he told me to start with this, and then he would come out and, you know, I guess it's a process, and I've just basically started the process is what I was trying to do.
And so you want to use the same driveway, continue to use that same one. I feel like the issue is going to be, once you split that off, we're going to need to know the road frontage as well.
Should know the road frontage.
It's gonna be 0, right?
Well, it depends on how it,
Yeah.
it depends on how the survey works out. So,
It's not like there's going to be a lot of traffic. I mean,
so I think Andrew's going to tell me no, but I think we can make a vote on it. If it turns into a easement issue, and John Saylor's very familiar with this, that we need to have that easement recorded with
Oh,
the deed.
I realize that.
Absolutely, okay.
yes.
And likely you will get a new address should we approve this.
Correct.
So I want to make sure that you are aware that you should absolutely post that address clearly visible.
Yep. I understand.
If we
all
should
that.
do that. Okay. No questions.
I think, and to bring back what we did before, that easement needs to have a long-term maintenance agreement.
Yes.
That's part of it.
Always, I think that's a good idea, yeah.
Make sure that it's got a well-defined maintenance agreement for who's going to be responsible should anything happen in the future to maintain
The
that
way I
access.
understood it from John, whoever the easement property belongs to, but there'll be no problem. We'll come up with agreement to take care
I think
of
it's wise. I've been on this
I
board a
understand.
long time, and you'd be surprised what happens when a family member passes away and all of a sudden something's up for, dibs, and
Correct.
It's insane.
Totally understand it.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Tony. Anything else? If there's nothing further from the board, I will entertain a motion.
That's if everything is what John is.
Yes. And Mike, do you feel comfortable with reviewing the easement as recorded, things of that nature, once you get the survey?
Sure.
Okay, very good. Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept this variance.
I have a motion to approve the variance.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Aye.
I appreciate your
Good luck.
time. Thank you very much.
Okay, petition number 9 this evening is a petition for variance of use for Brent and Corey King to remodel of a roughly 2,500 square foot home into a multifamily unit. The property is located at 6472 West Highway 30, Wanata, Cass Township, zoned B3 on 1 acre, and it will consist of 3 apartments. Good evening.
Notice is adequate.
Great, thank you. If you would please state your name and address for the record.
Brent King, 12884 South, 600 West, Hannah.
All right, Brent, and I apologize for keeping you guys so long. I drive past this property almost daily. It's a very odd-looking structure.
It is.
So, and I looked at your plans. I don't quite understand the basement situation. So, you're going to do 2 apartments on the short side?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
explain it to us.
It's my understanding. I talked to the neighbor, Leonard Petrone. He's been there forever.
Yep.
The county really doesn't have a record much. So it's my understanding there was one house that was built, and then the guy added that back part on, the 3-story structure with the basement.
Right.
So the first structure, first unit, the original house, I'll call it, would have the upstairs and the basement. And then the second one would have the main floor and the basement. So each is about 1,100 square feet. And then the third unit would be the second floor and the third floor, which are both wide open. So that's almost 1,200 square feet, and that one 1,100 square feet. It is ugly.
It's definitely not good
Something.
looking. Yeah.
But we bought it for a long-term rental. There's no desire to get rid of it. We would fix it. We live a mile away, so it's perfect. The foreseeable future, I would think 15, 20 years, I'll be old and tired, and maybe then it would go away.
Okay, just for everybody's edification, I live around the corner from the Kings and have known Mrs. King since elementary school. Stay that. Yeah, this really is an ugly building. Okay, so Do we have any remonstrators tonight for this petition? All right. If you'll have a seat, we'll see what they have to say. Don't go too far. If you guys want to come up, and you can come up and stand next to each other if you'd like, so we can, yeah, if you guys want to come on up.
They're neighbors. I think they're separate, but.
Hi there. Would you state your name and address for the record?
My name is Kyle Ott. I live at 6442 West US Highway 30.
Okay.
This would be the property to the east of this structure. Our concerns are, I mean, a well, for instance. I mean, you know, these are all, I mean, it's single family dwelling, so it's like we're going to have, you know, 3 unknown sized families all pulling. I mean, we don't have any issues now, but are we going to have issues if we do have issues? I know, you know, they're not going to pay for me to drill another well.
Right.
Septic is another thing. It's like, okay, again, everything works great, but it works as it is. It worked. I mean, that was a family of no more than, say, 3 or 4 living there at any given time. So it worked in its current capacity, but the biggest concern I have is, you know, are we going to have issues down the road? And it's not something that's going to present itself
right away.
You know, and then the comings and goings of, you know, 3, it really doesn't match the area, I guess is what I'm trying. You know, it's like, yeah, single family home and a single family home, and then we got a 3. It's not in town, I guess what I'm trying to say. So that is, and this is my wife. She lives next to me. I mean, well, she lives with me, obviously. You know, but that's our vested concerns. So.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi there.
Hi.
Do you state your name and address for the record?
Good evening. My name's Anthony DeLumo. We're at 6502 West US Highway 30. And this is my wife, Kelly, and my daughter, Jacqueline. We lived immediately to the west. We share a direct property line with that property. We've been there for 15 years. I've been in and around that, in the house, around the property many times, knowing the neighbors. The house is actually just a few feet from my property line. And our yard is kind of almost shared with the back lot there. So yeah, we're just kind of concerned about that many people, 3 families, like maybe 7 to say 15 people living in that place. It is an interesting building. There's no windows on the back side of the house. If you've never seen the back, it's very strange. It goes up 3 floors with 0 windows, which is very interesting. I know it seems like it would be quite a lot of work to get 3 units in there. So we kind of are also concerned with the amount of equipment, construction, very close to our property line, where my daughter plays in the yard and stuff like that, with having that many neighbors of, like, you know how rentals go, a lot of different people in and out, you know how long they're going to be there, different families, a variable amount of personalities and characters right next to Marathon, the gas station, the truck stop, all these things. Kind of just concerned for us as a family. It's kind of quiet over there.
Have you seen their plans?
I have not seen the plans.
It looks like 2-bedroom units, all 3 of them. Is that 2-bedroom units?
Okay.
So,
and there's been a lot of, like, I know there's been water remediation there and a lot of water seepage and things that seem like it would be also a concern, especially with the septic and the well and the way that's, I know they've had issues there with that before, but we just kind of learned about this on Saturday. The certified letter has been stuck at the post office.
I
So we never
understand.
read it so I don't have as many notes and things as I'd like to come to this with, but I don't know if my wife had any comments.
If you just state your name again.
Sure. My name is Kelly DeLumo at 6502 West US Highway 30. We currently live in the house to the west of this location for the variance. We have lived at this location for 15 years. I inherited the house from my family that has been at that location since I'd say almost the 50s. So we have just kind of grown to the Martin family to grown to love the uniqueness of the home next door. The prior neighbors were very friendly. We've never had any problems or conflict. So it was just a surprise to us when the building went up for sale. And we have just been sitting in limbo right now, wondering what is going to happen. And then we just learned that it was wanting to turn into an apartment building. I can understand it being a rental for a single family home, but for many families, there's not adequate parking. We are worried that there's not a visible division of property line, as in like there's no property fence. So how are these tenants going to know where the property line is? Are they going to come into our yard? My daughter plays outside, and they're going to be strangers that we just don't know. We would really like it to stay single family.
Okay.
That's our wish. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, any other remonstrators? Anybody else for or against this petition? All right, Mr. King, if you'll come back up. I have questions about parking as well. I don't know, and I'm asking this not because there's an issue with septic or wells. We don't, as a board, we do not have a say on your well or septic. That is through our building department and our health department. They'll be the ones that address those issues. But if, looking at the property, if they're to the rear of the home, is your septic field to the rear?
So I looked, I'm an excavating contractor, done septics forever. First thing I did was, I couldn't find a septic system. I have no idea what's out there. I had soil borings done. I had a septic spec for a 6-bedroom house. I think it's listed as a 5-bedroom, so I made it for a 6. There's plenty of room to put it between the building, the house, and the barn. I tried making notes here. The entire house needs to get redone. The electric is bad. He had mentioned the windows. We would add, all the windows have to be replaced. There was water damage. The roof has been since replaced. The mold remediation inside, we didn't see anything. We would hate to look at a truck stop all day, so we had thought we would plant massive pine trees on the west and a chain link fence on the opposite side as well, because we wouldn't want them driving. We don't want them driving in someone else's yard. There would be 2 car parking places in the front of the house, and then there would be 4 around back. There is a pole barn, about, I'm gonna guess it's 30 by 40, on there as well. That, I guess, I don't know if it matters, that would probably be somebody's parking. But yeah.
Okay. What kind of questions from the board?
The well would have to be replaced too.
Sure, and again, that's going to be something that if you get approved, will go through the building department and the health department here. So there's a few more hurdles to jump through.
Oh, yeah.
Parking is my biggest concern as well. You hit that, so.
I guess one other question, option 2 was, I mean, we just, either way, it's got to be fixed up. Again, our long-term goal was we have a rental property. Option 2, we still have to fix it up, and it's still a 5-6 bedroom house. Is single family home, it doesn't matter though. 6 bedroom is fine. I mean, there's no limit to a bedroom if it's already listed as a 5 or 6 bedroom.
We don't have jurisdiction over how you advertise it, yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I'm going to say this. I know that in the Cass Township area, there's a lot of people looking for somewhere to rent that maybe isn't in town. Just because I'm not saying this is a quiet area, because let's be honest, you're next door to a truck stop and a junkyard. So, but I do know that rentals are desirable in that area. So what kind of questions do you have? Do you guys have questions?
This is B3 zoning, so this is technically, sorry. This is B3 zoned right now, correct? So as it sits, it's a non-conforming use as it is. Single-family residence, just a single-family residence is not, we couldn't build a brand-new single-family residence without a variance.
Correct. It would be legal non-conforming.
Okay.
Anybody else?
How is the basement? Is there?
Basement, there's a little water.
No, not condition wise. Like, is there access to the basement from the outside?
Yes, the front of the house, there's stairs going down. The back of the house, you would access from inside. If we did this, we would put only to get water heaters and things like that in the basement. There would be retaining wall, 2 doors going in, and then egress windows as well as doors to both sides of the basement.
And then if you did the second story, would you do outside access with staircase outside as
There
well?
would be an outside staircase, yes. Yeah, yep. Only, access to the second unit, which would be the second floor and the third floor, yeah, that would be a staircase. Otherwise, they come straight in. Everybody's got their own.
So I think bless you, it goes without saying, if we approve this petition, maybe talk to the neighbors, and you have a large family. I don't know that you're going to try to rent to large families or, single people that I think you're going to be responsible.
Yes.
Landlords, and just maybe talk with the neighbors and make sure, should it get approved, that you work with them a little bit if that's possible. So if there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion.
The variance goes with the owner, correct?
Goes with the property.
Property.
So if he was to sell it, it would stay this.
It could, yes.
As long as it goes 12 months uninterrupted use.
Right.
I don't think you're going to sell it. I'm just thinking in the future, I guess. Go ahead and make a motion.
I prefer not to step down to make a motion, but then
I'll make a motion to approve the use variance for up to 3 units, multifamily, for the existing structure. Is that adequate?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign.
No.
Okay. Good luck. Make sure you work with the building commissioner.
Thank you.
And talk with your neighbors. Okay. Does anyone need a restroom break?
No.
Does anybody need a restroom break?
Oh, we're golden.
Very good. All right. So petition number 10 this evening is a petition for variance of developmental standards for Michigan City Black Bull LLC to keep up to 6 shipping containers for storage. The property is located at 10507 East Highway 12, Michigan City, Springfield Township, Zone B2 on 1.1861 acres.
Notice is adequate.
Great, thank you. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Carter Madigan, and I just want to confirm, do you want the business address or my personal address?
Either.
Okay.
Where
You
you
said the
live?
business, I'll give my personal, 817 North Ridgeway, Chicago, Illinois.
Okay. So you sell fireworks at this location? And clearly no one lives on site. It's just, so how many days usually are you guys open?
So we start May 1st through like July 15th on site every day. And then like the weekend before Labor Day till Labor Day, and then the weekend before New Year's till New Year's essentially is when we're open on site.
And 6 storage containers.
That's worst case. That was just the max.
Hope so.
Yeah. So at the beginning of last year, we had a warehouse in East Chicago that was sold. Upon that sale, those shipping containers were there. They were moved up unbeknownst to us, we didn't realize there was a limit on that. We were notified, and I've been in touch with them and working with the board and the department on that. That said, the plan is after this year, because, again, there were so many due to the overflow, like what was left in the warehouse, we just compacted into there. And then after this year, the hope is to get rid of 2 of them and then continue to downsize and just use them for storage during the season.
Okay, well, let's see if we have any remonstrators tonight. I see at least one hand. Any remonstrators for or against? Great. If you guys want to come up, maybe get close to each other so we can move quickly, that would be great. If you'd like to come up first, ma'am. And if you would state your name and address for the record. Sure. Please.
My name is Carol Lories, and the address is 10505 U.S. Highway 12, Michigan City, and we are the property owners west of Black Bull property. We have approximately 50 feet away from the property, his property. We have a kerosene tank, we have propane cages, and we have gas pumps as well. Our business motto includes safety first, and we preach it daily. We keep our customers safe and we keep our employees safe. I feel like this is the most unsafe business next to ours. They are constantly shooting off fireworks. They don't have water. To me, that is a big problem. They borrow our water. Years ago, Dick Wilson, who owned Night Magic Fireworks on Vale Road in Rolling Prairie, had a container such as that, and it did blow up. And so 5 of them are existing right now on his site.
Okay.
And I'm very terrified.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Would you state your name and address for the record?
Jean Bennett, and I'm at 10415 East US 12. I have property adjacent to the
on the east
property
side
in question.
On the east side?
I'd say more on the south. I have
on the rear. Okay.
Yeah, the Shell station is right. Yeah, I wrap around. But I guess he kind of answered 2 of the questions I had, because there's been probably 6 or so units there for a few years now. And I just wondered if these were in addition to, but I guess he's going to try to reduce those. And then the contents of the containers I was worried about. But then I'm also worried about seems to be semi-traffic in there, and I don't know if that has to do with the storage units or if they, or if there's another reason why there's that kind of traffic in there.
Okay.
But that's really all I had.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other remonstrators tonight?
Madam President, we did receive written remonstrance, which was forwarded to you and is in file in our office.
Yep. So if anybody wants to read the written remonstrance we received, you can contact the building department and they can provide that to you. Okay. Hearing and seeing no further remonstrators, what kind of questions do we have from the board?
Am I allowed to answer a few of the points, or do you want me to wait?
Yeah,
I'd like to hear the semi.
Yep, that's one of the things I was going to address. So it's not our traffic. We let semis park there, or there are some that are like they're double trailer essentially, coming from like the steel mills. And so they've asked to just be able to drop it there while they, make the load, and then they come and pick it back up same day. There's only one truck that kind of stays a little overnight sometimes, but he lives down the road. So it's got nothing necessarily to do with our business. We just let them park because we have all that gravel. It's a double lot, but the one lot's just empty. It's gravel and the grass where the shipping containers are. So it's nothing business-wise.
I guess I'll go again here. How much carryover do you have that's in these containers year round? Or, like, is there a need for all these containers in the first place?
So we have 3 stores total. We have our store and 2 more in Hammond. And so it's just the supply for the season that gets dropped for all 3, and then as it's dispersed during the season, it dissipates.
Okay, I'll piggyback on that. I have another one. Do you have a plan, like a 1-year, 2-year, 5-year plan to build a warehouse, rent another warehouse, some way to get rid of these shipping containers?
At this point, I don't believe the major owner does. He lives down in Florida. I believe the plan was to, like empty them out every season and then just with the orders fill them back up at the beginning of the season. I know that when we had the fire inspector, like for last season, he also did inspect the containers. I believe the rule was 100 feet from the gas station. We met that requirement because you've got our store in between and they're on the opposite side of our store than the gas station. And then we've got like the fire extinguishers in each container. So we met the, we had those inspected when the marshal came. Again, I didn't realize there was a variance requirement, but I did get that done and he'll be doing that again this year.
Judging by the pictures, it doesn't look like you are in compliance of.
Not at all.
You're sitting on grass, so.
Okay.
It's supposed to be on a foundation, anchored down.
Anchored down, all those things.
Gotcha, okay.
I understand fire marshal is different, but, I mean, the building department has their own set of rules.
Footers and anchors.
Okay, so.
Do you have restroom facilities and water at this
We
location?
get a porta potty, like on site just for the season, because again, it's a building that's used 3 or 4, and there is a well in the back that we are working on getting mapped out and getting running again. Upon purchase, I don't believe that was working. Again, I've only been at this location the past couple of years, and I know prior to me, we did, there were issues with the gas station. I've tried to work on that. I didn't realize, I've never met the owners, but I've worked with her staff pretty well. If there's issues, they have my number directly to address things.
Okay.
That was kind of the reason I got moved up here, because the people that were there were not.
Okay.
Do you have other facilities, you said, in Hammond?
Yes, there's 2 other stores in Hammond, fireworks stores.
But all the shipping containers are full right now.
Yes.
And that's for all 3 stores?
Correct. And so that's why after the season, the hope was to sell off at least 2 of them and just have the 3 empty during the off season, fill them during the season, and then have them emptied every off season, essentially.
Does either of your locations have a gas station right next to it?
The Uncle Sam's in Hammond, it's right across the street. I believe it's a mobile. So
you have one that does not have right next to a gas station, where maybe it'd be a little bit better place to store all the fireworks?
That one, there's not room for them. It has a garage that is full with inventory right now, and then it's like an Aurelio's right next door in Chase Bank, so there's no room at that location for anything.
When will these containers be emptied?
It would be after the 4th of July, so beginning of August.
And then when you get, you said you have another time frame for like the end of the year?
So for the end of the year, the inventory from the rollover of 4th of July. We don't necessarily make new orders, and if we do, it's anything just to fill on the shelf. So they don't get filled or excessive orders for Labor Day or New Year's, because they're not as big as 4th of July. 4th of July is the only time that we're really making orders, and the trucks are coming back and forth. And then the trucks that do come back and forth, we rent like the Penske box trucks with the lift, and so it's not actually a full semi that comes up repeatedly. They might come to make the drop and then we load it, but other than that, it's just like a Penske box truck.
I'm good.
Any further questions? Any further questions from the board? And if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that the 6 storage containers are removed the 1st of August.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. So we're
Denying.
clarification is we're allowing the storage containers until the 1st of August?
And that's when they said they would be empty, and from then on, they're not allowed.
So you have
I understand.
90 days or whatever that is to get them off the property is.
Okay. So that's the motion and a second. After the 1st of August, should this pass, then you cannot return any of the storage containers to the property.
Correct.
Okay. that's the
Question of
motion.
clarification, if this motion does not pass, then it is
You can make a new motion.
denied,
make a
or we
new
can make a new motion? Okay, understood.
Okay, so all those in favor of Ernie's motion and the second, say aye.
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 I don't know. Okay, those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Aye. So the motion passes, Ernie, and you have until August
1st.
and then at August 1st, they have to be removed.
Sounds good. Thank you,
Okay.
guys.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
That was confusing.
Well, denied the variance.
Okay, petition number 11 is a petition for special exception for Ruth Hugley and Iron Mountain Towers LLC for a new wireless communication facility. 445-foot tower and a 4-foot lightning rod instead of the maximum height of 199 feet. Property is located at 344 West, 1000 North, LaPorte, Springfield Township, zoned ag on 30.201 acres.
Thanks, sir. It's all right.
I'm sorry I made that face at you.
Madam President, notice is adequate, but I do need to advise the board that approximately 10 years ago in private practice, I did represent Tower King. And that designation appears on several of the materials that have been provided by petitioner for a telecommunications tower in LaPorte County.
Okay.
So for clarification's sake, Iron Mountain Towers is a subsidiary of Tower King. So
Everybody's good with Andrew still representing us? And okay. All right, very good. Sir, if you would state your name and address for the record, and I am going to ask you to hit just the major points and have our questions kind of guide where we're going to go with this.
okay, yeah, I was going to apologize. I have quite a
I figured you did.
Probably
That's
5
why
or 10 minutes,
I'm going to
so.
let you know right now that we're going to probably have more questions. And then if we need further information, we'll go ahead and do the presentation.
Okay. My name is Derek McGrew. I'll give you the business address, which is 23434 Elliott Road, Defiance, Ohio. I've actually personally developed more towers in LaPorte County than any county anywhere. Grew up in Chesterton and currently live down in Noblesville, but back in the day when we had an office in Valparaiso, developed quite a few towers. Most of your towers in LaPorte County I had something to do with. So where the coverage is good, I'll take credit. Where it's not good, not my fault. Okay. This particular facility, you're aware of the location, I believe. I'm going to try to go pretty quickly here, like as requested. Company that I represent, Iron Mountain Towers, has a tenant that is seeking to propagate a signal many miles to the east and west. And for that reason, that's the reason we're asking for such great height. We are asking for a special exception. We meet all of the ordinance criteria accepting the height. The signal we're sending, in order to make it over Lake Michigan, has to be this height. And there's a signal map in your packet, assuming you have my application packet, which shows the signal getting close to the curvature of the earth. We have to have a tower every so often, depending on the topography. This particular one is, like I said, going to Chicago to the west and is going to a tower roughly just a little east of South Bend.
So is it fair to say that it's not cell tower transmissions?
That's correct. It is not. It's point to point.
Okay. Are you at liberty to tell us what kind of communications it contains?
It is for the financial markets, and also government monitors
I
it.
feel like we've done this tower, a similar tower before.
Okay.
That was for the financial markets.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't surprise me at all. As I said, we do meet all the setbacks. The reason it is shifted off to one side of the property is because basically I'll call it the center and west half of the property has a bunch of wetlands and a protected waterway, so we can't get into that because towers are governed by the FCC. We can't get into wetlands and that sort of thing. I did provide you the co-location affidavit. The height variance justification is, like I said, the signal maps. We did receive a no hazard from the FAA, meaning that the FAA has no issues with this location and this height. So far as tenants go, as I mentioned, we have one tenant at the top. We also have I contacted all of the wireless providers, and I was told by all three major carriers that this location will eventually be a place where they need to be. And so how that helps LaPorte County is you have a 2-mile radius in your ordinance that says you can't put a tower within 2 miles. By the way, there is no tower within 2 miles of this tower, and that is going to force those providers, even though they're going to want to use it anyway, it's going to force them to use this and cover that portion of highway and that rural area. The tower itself is, like I said, it's probably about halfway back on the property. It's roughly 2 football fields off the road. Both sides, both east and west, are vacant, and I believe behind us is vacant too. It's wooded or agricultural. I was going to go through your entire special use requirements and the responses, but in light of your request, I will hold off on that. I did provide even though it's not required, I know a big concern for towers is that they could fall. I provided what's called a fall zone letter in your packet, and that is a professionally engineered stamped letter stating that this tower will not leave the property. If it were to fail under worst case scenario, which I believe is 107 miles per hour with 1.5 inches of ice, which would be a bad day. Yeah, it would be. I think you'd have some other concerns. It doesn't emit any noise, very little traffic, 4 to 6 visits a year once constructed. The lights on the tower will be red during the day, white at night, which is what's called a dual medium system. There won't be any white strobes or anything like that. There's no dust, vibration, glare, emissions. At least for this initial installation, there won't be no generators, so no noise from that. This doesn't impede the progress of surrounding properties in any way. We're meeting all the setbacks, and like I said, the tower, under worst case scenario, is going to stay on the property. Utilities that we'll need are minimal, nothing special, just 220 like you would for your house. And I think that's as quick as I can go through all this.
Let's see if we have some remonstrators for
I
this
think we do.
petition. I believe we do too. So if you'll have a seat, and here's what I want you guys to do. And we're going to hear everybody, but I want you to get kind of in line so that we can move kind of quickly. I know we have people all over the room, so.
Person in front of you said.
So we're going to state our name and address, and you're going to try not to repeat any of the issues that you've already heard, okay?
Hi, my name is Beth Bianco. I live at 9679 North Wilhelm Road in LaPorte. So where this tower is, kind of is like where my backyard is.
Okay.
And if it's going to be that high, I already see on the west side and the north another tower that's constantly flashing. So now I got to look at this one. I have wetlands on my property. I have hunting lands on my property. I plan to buy the 60 acres, which is a Swanson property, that already butts up to that, to have cattle to continue to farm. I'm completely against the cell phone tower.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony Bianco, 9679 North Wilhelm Road. Beth is my wife. We're the property owners that this backs up to. a 449-foot tower in my backyard. The Washington Monument is 500 feet tall. Would you want to look at that in your backyard? Absolutely not. There's unused commercial property that's on 39, 3/4 of a mile away. And
Sir, I'm going to ask you to keep your comments towards the board.
3/4 of a mile away and a mile and a half away, there's an industrial park that's not being used. Why does this have to go in the middle of a residential area? I get it that it's farmland everywhere, but there's homes all around. Then you want to shoot microwave, you want to shoot microwaves, because that's what he's talking about. He's talking about the big drums, to shoot them across to go to Chicago and then to South Bend. Why do we need to be exposed to that? So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Hi, I'm Ralph Gerby. This is my wife, Jody Gerby.
Okay.
And our address is 10268 Range Road in LaPorte.
Okay.
And we also own the property directly east of where this is going.
Okay.
It is vacant farmland now. Don't know that it will remain that, but.
So this has been our home for just shy of 25 years. We bought that second parcel that Jody just referenced about 8 years after we bought our first parcel, and we built a handcrafted home there. And we fell in love with this part of the country, and we've been going to Heston Bar ever since we built a home, and we have a love for this area. What we don't have a love for is a neighbor growing out of the ground to 445 feet into the air. This is something that is apparently okay to do 199 feet of, which I think is staggering, let alone more than twice that height. That is what's being suggested happen on a corridor of 1000 North, which is widely regarded in that area as one of the most idyllic rolling roads from 39 all the way up to the Heston Bar. Every family up and down there. And believe me, I canvassed and stopped at 200 homes last week and left information with all of them and explained it. I wish more of them were here, but everybody's got jobs and everybody's busy. But I'm not so busy that I can't put my heart on my sleeve and say that this is a special corridor of real estate. And I'll step back for a moment and say, with all emotion, I have spent 40 years as a commercial real estate guy. I have flown to 85 cities around the country and have done the work on behalf of the Fortune 5 for my entire career. I'm a deeply, with all modesty, very, very strong real estate person. I have forgotten more than people know about real estate. I also, Madam Chairman, spent 10 years as the chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals of Oak Park, Illinois, a community of 50,000 people, which is one of the most vocal populace possible.
Sorry.
Do you have something to say?
Yes.
Go ahead.
The effect to real estate values for everyone, it is very high density compared to all these other areas. It should not be done.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to come forward, please. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Bev Griffith. My husband Bill and I live a mile away from where this will be. We're on 900 North, 179 East, 900 North. And we've been here for 30 years in an idyllic, lovely, rural paradise, really, and just found out that this was a possibility a mile away. And I'd like to thank the Gerbys for calling it to our attention, because we we wouldn't have known. But just coming from a standpoint of unspoiled nature, we'll see it forever. This is as tall as one of the windmills. In fact, it's taller because some of those are only 300 feet. This is going to be another 150 feet plus an antenna. So, at any rate, I would just like to speak to say, we know progress has to happen, but maybe it could happen in a little bit of a different place that is not quite so pristine. So
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and for what you guys do.
Ma'am, if you'd like to come forward. Hi there. Would you state your name and address for the record?
My name is Pam Braithwaite, and I live at 10296 North Range Road. I'm just north of the Gerbies. It's a dead-end road there. I just wanted to come up and say, my dad bought the property in 1980 from Don Schwenk, and he has passed. His niece owns the property that's basically across the street and somewhat catty corner to the farm where this is being proposed. So technically, I'm about a quarter mile from there. I've lived in the house for the past 15 years. I moved back in with my daughter, and she has moved out, but I'm still there to help take care of my elderly parents. They've been there since 1991. This is the retirement. I wanted to say that it's a wetlands area. We have a swamp. There's a lake behind us that we don't own the lake. It is a migratory area for sandhill cranes. We have lots of Canadian geese. There's all kinds of different species that are out there. It's a farmland. It's beautiful. Everyone, it's just such a pristine area. My concern is also with any frequencies that might be too high, going into megahertz and gigahertz, that could cause possible health risks. I mean, there's two sides of it. There's risks where it could be cancerous, it could be memory loss, it could cause cataracts, it could cause a lot of different health issues. But then it's the other side, and they're going to be like, oh, it's great. No, there's not enough studies, la, la, la. But anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. Anyway, I love it there. My parents love it there, and I don't think that something such as a large corporation has any right to come in and take what is beautiful and wonderful and everyone involved that lives there. And it is a beautiful area. And there's a lot of residents in that area. So, and also one more thing, the footholds, not including the wires that come down, they can take up between 2 and 10 acres just for the base of the tower. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any additional remonstrators? We're going to get you next. Hi there. Would you state your name and address for the record?
Hi, I'm Megan Garcia, and we're at 265 West 1000 North, so we're across the street, kitty corner. We have lots of concerns. Actually, we just found out about this, so I didn't have as much time as I would like to have researched. But number one, the eyesore, let's be honest. We moved here from Illinois 13 years ago because of how beautiful it is, and we didn't want to bring it with us. And that's what this does for us. But on top of that, I have kids, so I do wonder about health risks in the future, what it can do. I tried to research as much as I can, and again, just like the last lady said, you get yes, no's. There's no evidence-based practice articles that I can find that say it doesn't affect your health or it does affect your health. So that's a concern for us. We have, almost all of our neighbors have horses, animals, whatever these sounds going to do for them. They are peaceful creatures that don't need to deal with that kind of stuff. So I just would really not like to see it go up at all, especially because of health concerns and the unknowns, I guess. It's basically what it is.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Felipe Garcia. I also live at 265 West 1000 North. And pretty much of the concerns that everybody else has. And then also I'm wondering, how is this going to impact the land? Because I know putting up this huge tower is going to create digging down into the earth. Is this going to affect the well water? What else is going to affect? There's too many unknowns for this big building to be proposed. So we're not sure exactly how it's going to affect everyone. And so at this point, we're against it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
excuse me, I'm sorry. I didn't hear his first concern just before he said something about well water.
He had concerns like everyone else did,
Oh, and then well water, and that was it?
and then how it's going to affect the well water. Sir, if you'd like to come up in the front here. And then ma'am, you'll be next.
Yeah, my name is Richard Slater. I live at 1076 West 1000 North, so I'm about 7/10 of a mile straight west of where this thing would go. In researching the county's ordinance that was effective October 13th, 2016, a couple of items that I thought pertained to this in there. Under Section 15, General Provisions, Section 15.01, Uses per Lot, subsection C says wireless communication facilities may be located on a lot that contains another use except one family and two family dwellings. And there is already a dwelling, a house on that property, I believe. And secondly, under section 28.11, variances, subset 1, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Now, I would say that a 445 foot plus the lightning rod, that's over 40 stories tall, would not really be a safe feature. In comparison, for some things we know about around here, the concrete tower over at Schultz Road and US 35 is about 197 feet tall. Blue Chip Casino at 22 stories is roughly 220 feet tall. So this thing is more than twice as tall as either of those facilities. And some additional issues would be construction traffic. You know, out there we already have the Versaw sand pit operating. They've got 3 trucks, triaxle and quadaxle dump trucks, running up and down 1000 from roughly 6 in the morning to 4 p.m., hauling sand out and back hauling mostly tree waste and whatever else they haul back into that sand pit, dumping it in there. So we've already got that traffic that's pretty tough on the road. And this tower, I'm sure, is going to probably have guy wires, fencing. I think the gentleman mentioned the white and red lights on there during the day and the night. We've got some of those in the neighborhood already to the west of us that pretty well light up things out there. You've got all the fencing around the project area, and I don't know, no ground buildings were mentioned, but usually with these facilities, there's some kind of a ground building that's built there too. So I think this project would change the aesthetics, the visual character, the neighborhood identity, and desirability for continued high-value development that's been going on in that area for years.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Your 3 minutes are up.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Jerry, I have a few ladies that I'm going to let go first. And then if you guys want to kind of get close so that I can see how many we have left.
My name is Doris Schwenk, and I live directly across the road from this proposed site of this tower. I am the 5th generation of Schwenk to come over from Germany and live in that area and protect the land. I lost my son. However, I will be deeding my farm to my granddaughter.
Doris, what concerns do you have about the tower?
Pardon?
What concerns do you have about the tower?
The tower is entirely too immense for our area. I did some comparison on my own to try to figure out how tall really is 445 plus 44 feet. And the Washington Monument is only 555 feet, 5 inches and 1/8 inch tall. And I think this is just a little too much for us in a rural farming community to accept at this time, not for myself, I'm 84 years old and a widow, but for my granddaughter who will ultimately live there. And I really appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.
I guess my biggest concern.
Can you state your name and address for the record?
It's Allison McCowan, and then it would be the same address as hers. My biggest concern was the environmental impacts the tower would have on the area, as other people had mentioned, like the frequencies, how that would affect like the pollinators, since a lot of people do have like their farms out there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. If you'd like to state your name and address for the record, and again, I would like to stress that anything new, something that we have not already heard.
Ashton Yettall, 255 West, 1000 North. I'm directly to the north side of the road, east, just one property. My wife and I, and our 1-year-old at the time, moved there 2 years ago. We come from a farming background, and we want to keep it that way. Our property, 50 years, was originally farm ground. Our family farms directly across the street next to the property of 344 West. And our biggest concerns is, I know I apologize for it's already come up, is aesthetics. Now, I know the world has to move on. I'm a tradesman. I get it. I like my cell phone. But we moved there for the property and for the peace and quiet. And my daughter's 3 now, and we want her to be raised in the farm family and grow up to continue the tradition, use our ground is to grow, and maybe our grandkids one day can continue to do the same thing. 200 feet, if it comes down to that, I understand. But truthfully, going to bed every night is hard, dealing with the fire risks, and just the annoyance of the construction. It was mentioned before, the trucks nonstop. I'm on construction sites every day. It's not pleasant. It's not fun. I don't want to be there 100% of the time with the noise, but I have to. That's what I do for my family. And so I do understand where they are coming from, but I truly believe that it would be amazing to keep this part of LaPorte County to agriculture. One day it's not going to be. There will be more data centers and gas stations, and it's just we're gonna lose farm ground eventually. I get it, but if we could get another generation out of it, that would be wonderful. So thank you, board, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Hi there.
Hi.
If you would state your name and addresses for the record.
I'm Kathleen Thomas. I live at 442 West 1000 North, LaPorte, and I also own the land that's in the trust next to it, which is 0343 West 1000 North. So we own all the land directly across from the Hughley's. It's my husband, Matt Thomas, same address. I think, so I'm a nurse practitioner, so I am really vested in research. I make my medical decisions based on research and data. So my concerns, although not being a vet, are what are the adverse effects to animals, reproductive impacts. We raise cattle, we raise colts, we train them. I haven't seen any research or data. I actually thought it was a cell phone tower, and today I learned it's not. So I didn't have a chance to research the microwaves, or I'm not even exactly sure what it is, but I wish I had a little bit of time to research that and address that. We are also concerned about the noise. I did read that these towers, he said no generator for now. I don't know what that means, but do they use cooling fans? What happens when it hums, it buzzes, when the auxiliary equipment breaks? How quickly do they fix it? We have animals, we live directly across the street. I don't want to hear that stuff when it breaks, and it will, eventually, they all do. What's the plan for that? And I think lastly, we were concerned about seeing it, but I think we are so close to it that when we walk out, we're gonna have to do this. So if we were further away, I think we would probably actually see it more, unless it's in front of the tree line. then it's going to be right in our view, which is a concern. And then I didn't realize until this meeting today that it's absolutely no benefit to LaPorte County residents. It's not a cell phone tower. So all we're benefiting is Chicago and South Bend, which I am 100% for progression and that we need these things, but I don't know if we need to benefit Chicago and South Bend in outside our front door across the street. I might support it more if it benefited LaPorte County. Like if they said, oh yeah, AT&T and Verizon, everybody's going to be able to use it right now. Sounds like we can't use it at all unless later the cell phone companies want to jump on board and use the tower. So like we are kind of like, why are we supporting an evolution that doesn't even benefit LaPorte County residents and could harm our animals and could cause noise and everything else everybody mentioned. So you have anything you want to add?
No, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Jerry, you got to move faster.
You better run.
Yeah. That's as fast as he runs.
Well, I lived most of my life up there.
State your name and address.
1777 West, 1000 North. I'm a half a mile from 39, and there is a cell tower down the road from me, a half a mile, right along 94, and that's where they all go. They like to be along 94, the toll roads. You know, we have a beautiful area. We have a lot of people visit our community here. That tower is in a bad place. I don't know why we don't have an ordinance. They have to be an industrial area to put them up. I don't care. These things, you know, you talk about comparison. When the leaves aren't down, I can almost see the smokestack at Nipsco. That's 500 foot. The cooling tower is 360 some foot. I worked on that thing, so I know how tall it is. So that's a comparison. I'll tell you, 450 foot in the air on farmland out there on 1000 North. Can you imagine that thing? That's going to be the ugliest thing there is in the world. And I believe in construction. I'm from the field of construction, but this is no place for this. The neighbors are right. I wouldn't want the damn thing. I'll probably be able to see it from my house, and I don't want to see it. And as far as the blinking lights, I come up 39, I can see them out on 94, the blinking lights. It's, you know, come on. I got to deal with all the marijuana joints already, and now I have to deal with, I mean, you know, 1000 North.
Well, there's one we haven't heard yet.
Oh, I'm
Thank you.
telling you what, 16 marijuana joints, you know, 3 miles from my house, and you know, and Indiana's too stupid not to pass it in Indiana, so we get the taxes. I don't know what this place is going to put in taxes, but I'll tell you, I probably pay more taxes than what this thing's going to put out. But I agree with the neighbors. You know, we don't need this. You know, if you put it for a vote in our township, they wouldn't put them there. They'd put them somewhere else in the industrial area. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we got one more. This is the last Vermonstrator we're going to hear this evening. If you would, state your name and address.
Rich Schreiber, 534 West, 900 North, just south of where this tower is going in. Okay. It's supposed to be a 450-foot tower. It has to be located to one side of the property to avoid a wetland. Okay. And the property, I believe, if you look on the Beacon website, the property is only 850 feet wide. So 450 feet high, it's located to one side of the property, and they say their design is going to collapse on itself and not fall across the property line, damaging other neighbors. Okay, I find that hard to believe. Okay, I don't care who signed it. The other thing is there's multiple fiber optic running through the different rail lines all across the country. You know, that's, I believe, a more secure way to send data than to put it up in the air for everybody to peel off on it. So those are my concerns besides the others. And there are eagles that are inhabiting that area now and nesting up in this part of the county. So I don't know, they probably have an environmental impact statement stamped by somebody. So who knows? But
okay.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Rich. Okay, what kind of, if you'd like to come back up, what kind of questions do we have as a board? And I know we have some, so.
Well, I'll start.
Go ahead, thank you.
So were there any alternative sites in the area evaluated?
Oh, yeah, many. I couldn't give you a number. Search ring was actually fairly large. but there were very few properties that met the criteria that we needed, and including landlord interest in leasing. So, yes, there were many properties. These kind of search areas are a little different than cell tower search areas. They're rectangular and narrow. And so like some of the people that were here that live, a mile away, 7/10 of a mile away, if it weren't approved here, it's likely it could be proposed even closer to their homes. I mean, and let me respond, the industrial park kept coming up. That's not only not in our search ring, but the property's not large enough. It doesn't work, or we would be there. That's a lot easier thing to sell than trying to go on ag property, but ag property is allowed in your ordinance. So that's why we went there.
How many feet from the property line is it going to be, the base going to be located?
The closest one is, that's why I had this here in case I had a question. It's just over half, which is what your ordinance requires. It's 227 from the east line. It's 593 from the road. It's 624 from the west line, and over 1,000 feet, 1,034 from the south line.
What was that first?
For 227. So your ordinance calls for a setback of 50% tower height from non-residentially zoned properties.
Ernie, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Got anything else?
I got one for Andrew.
Go ahead.
Andrew, can you provide any guidance or information in regards to what the federal telecommunications sort of rules around this would be?
In the packet that was provided by petitioner, it does outline specifically the requirements under Telecommunications Act of 1996, which is codified under 47 U.S.C. Section 332, subsection C7. It specifically then also goes forward to reference FCC licensing, FAA obstruction evaluation requirements, and the information provided by the petitioner indicates that this petition does meet those requirements. However, I have not had an opportunity to dig that deep into those specific code sections, which are highly technical. So the board will have to take the presentation on its face. With that being said, if there are areas that are not in compliance, that would be reason to rescind a granted variance for this purpose, and that it was not properly presented.
Okay, if there are no further questions from the board, I will entertain a motion.
I don't get an opportunity to respond to the...
Please. Please respond.
Oh, I mean, are you going to make a motion to deny? Is that what's about to
I
happen?
don't know. I'm not the one who makes motions. I'm the president.
Okay. Regarding property values, that comes up anytime I do a tower anywhere. People that show up say it's going to affect their property values. We've done study after study after study. It's been shown that not only do they not negatively affect property values, they actually, it's either no effect or improves property values. We've never done a study that shows that it negatively affects property values. I know that doesn't seem believable. I'm telling you, it's done by appraisers, someone with factual information. It kept being mentioned that it was a cell phone tower. As you know, it's not. I mentioned that I contacted, it's my job to search for properties in the area. And I did contact many properties in the area. Just a reminder, we meet the setbacks regarding construction, traffic, and noise. That construction will happen for a very short period of time. Once it's constructed, there isn't construction trucks coming in and out. The maintenance trucks that come in are going to be a pickup truck, a van, or a sedan, and it's 4 to 6 times, a year. It's not repetitive. There's no additional fire risk as to any other structure that's being built or has been built, including homes. the signal that's being sent starts out basically the size of your pinky or your finger. We're not talking about a cell tower which is propagating a signal over a large area, almost like a spray can, like a spray can, paint spray can. There's no buildings being proposed at this location. The I'll call it a structure is they look like some small refrigerators. They're about this tall. They sit up on a platform, but there's no buildings actually proposed. I understand that everyone in the audience believes that this will affect the visual character of the area, and I understand their concern, but being 2 football fields off the road, I don't think they're really going to notice it nearly as much as they think they are once constructed.
All right, I'm going to ask the audience to keep their comments to themselves. Give this gentleman an opportunity to respond so we can make a vote.
There's no effect on water at all. We don't do anything with water. There's no water service. We construct it under the criteria of federal and state standards. The public benefit, there is an immediate benefit, but it's more about, as you're aware, this is for the financial industry. So if anyone in LaPorte County make trades like on E-Trade or other types of online services, that's one of the things that this uses. I'm sorry, this is the use for that purpose. So there is that public benefit. There is also the future public benefit, as I had mentioned, that the wireless providers are going to want to use this site. If you look at, there's apps that you can look on your phone. There's weak service in that area for all 3 providers right now. And lastly, look, I have sympathy for, I don't want to come up here and propose something and this many people show up to oppose it. That's no fun for me. I try to put a tower, I've been doing this for 26 years. I try to put towers where it's not going to affect anybody. And I understand people are going to disagree with where it was placed. I will say, though, that we looked at a lot of properties in a large area, and we were not able to find another property that met all the criteria in order to place this tower. And, if this were not approved, it's going to be proposed again somewhere else. And maybe we won't be able to meet all the criteria, but here we do. Here, this is a special exception. The only variance to that we're asking for is the height. 200-foot tower does us no good. Well, we're going to have to start over and propose another one somewhere else if this weren't approved. And if the board would be interested, we could talk about a continuance to next month. I can provide photo simulations. I didn't mention that we do extensive environmental studies to ensure that it isn't affecting the historical value of the area, different wildlife in the area. As a matter of fact, one of the things that actually negatively affects us, if that's kind of a strong word to use, but I have a project I'm working on right now that has ospreys that are nested on the top of the tower, and we can't touch that tower until the ospreys leave. If there's an eagle in the area, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it nested on top of the tower. And it certainly wouldn't negatively affect them. Anyway, like I said, I could provide you those studies. I could provide you photo simulations of what this is going to look like from different perspectives. And I believe there's one other thing, but I can't remember what that was. And please ask me any questions that you might have.
Has there been studies on livestock, do you know of, as far as breeding and that kind of thing goes?
I'm sorry, studies on what?
Livestock. You said wildlife, but is there studies on livestock as far as breeding and whatnot? Does it affect breeding of livestock? I know, big highline towers for electricity does affect breeding and that kind of thing.
So you've put me in an awkward position.
If you don't know, say no.
No, it's not that I don't know. I do know. But unfortunately, because the Telecommunications Act has preempted this kind of discussion, I really can't answer you. As badly as I can answer you out there, I can't answer.
Well, I just know if you had studies on these other things, if you had studies on that was my question.
Yeah, there's all kinds of studies, but I unfortunately I can't talk about them because actually, you're not supposed to entertain those kind of things in this kind of venue. And so, I've always been advised by attorneys that I work with to not speak about health effects when it comes to towers, because it shouldn't be discussed. I wish I could.
Madam President, point of order.
Please.
Pursuant to the specific requirements for a special exception under the LaPorte County
Relates
Joint
to
Zoning
health and
Ordinance.
public safety.
Section 24.05 has 8 items that must be met. And each of the following must be true. Subsection A, general welfare. Subsection B, surrounding property. Subsection C, hazard. Subsection D, public facilities and services. Subsection E, development requirements. Subsection F, ordinance intent. Subsection G, county land development plan. And subsection H, use regulation. Now, the board needs to understand that all of those must be met. Each of those following must be true. It's not 7 out of 8.
Right.
It's 8 out of 8. So I just wanted to make that point of clarification. With regards to the FCC Act that was referenced, there may be things that are inappropriate to discuss in this forum pursuant to that federal law. However, these items, these 8 items, are what you are basing your decision on this evening.
Thank you for that clarification.
But keep in mind that the public health can also be, is someone going to be harmed because the tower falls over? The public health, what you're not, my understanding, and I'm not going to put words in your attorney's mouth, but my understanding is the Telecommunications Act doesn't allow you to discuss or use the health effects from the signal itself. But the structure, concerns about any other health concerns, those are obviously open to discussion.
You feel you could provide us literature to make our decision easier on those 8 points if we gave you a continuance to come back next month?
Yes, I do.
Do you have anything further you want to add before we move forward?
I mean, the things that I mentioned, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, like right now?
I don't think so.
So,
I'm going to entertain a motion.
Okay. I would move to continue this and give you an opportunity to respond to some of the concerns.
I'll second that.
I would suggest too that if it passes to continue, you work with the the building commissioner's office to provide information so that these remonstrators can go, whether it's a spot on our website for the county, but somewhere where these remonstrators can also have access to information and work with their office to do that. Does that sound okay with you?
Sure. We will be the record keepers of that information, and we can disseminate that via.
I think it needs to be available to the public as well.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to continue this petition until the June meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
No.
Aye. Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Work with the building commissioner's office. And that goes for the remonstrators as well. If you have questions about information, please contact the building commissioner, their office. Otherwise, we will be June 16th is the date that we'll hear the continuation of this petition. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Petition number 12 this evening is a petition for variance of developmental standards for De Santiago Ricardo to construct a pool house, guest house at the property located at 2575 North Tiffany Drive, LaPorte, Cool Spring Township, zoned R1A. Are you here?
Yes.
Thank you for your patience. If you don't mind, we'll just give everybody a minute to exit. Sir, are you here for petition number 1? Okay.
Come over.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay. Folks, if we could move your conversations out into the hallway, we do have to wrap up our meeting. Thank you. We'll see you in
It
June.
is a little concerning, Jimmy.
Okay, let's see if,
Notice is adequate.
thank you. And would you ladies state your name and address for the record?
Yesenia Casares, 326 Holiday Street, Michigan City, Indiana.
Okay.
Maria Di Santiago, 2575 Tiffany Drive, LaPorte, Indiana, 46350.
Okay. And is your house built? Everything's good? Now you want to put in a pool with a pool, a pool house. Is it going to be used for residential rentals? People are going to sleep over? Is it just personal?
It's going to be a guest house for my family when they come and visit from Chicago.
Okay. And what's the size of this?
I believe it's 26 by 36.
Do we have any remonstrators tonight for this petition? Anybody for or against? Petition number 12.
But it's not.
Any remonstrators?
You gonna ask one more time?
I am. 3 times is what I do. Okay, final call for any remonstrators for or against this petition. Hearing and seeing none. What kind of questions do we have as a board? Are you sure 26 by 36 is big enough?
Big
So it's going to have pool mechanics in there, and
it's going to have the whole pump thing and a little open area so we could like have parties and, little thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
And then the pool, like a washer and dryer for the towels and stuff like that.
Questions?
You good?
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is it's the second accessory structure is what we're looking, yep, and that's all we're looking at, because the size works.
Yep.
Right. Right.
New? Nothing?
That's a beautiful house.
I know.
It is a beautiful house.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of money.
You want to stop by? You want to ask me to stop by in the summer?
I feel like perhaps
Well, I
we
feel
should be
like-
related.
Will the new structure match
Yes.
I feel like it's going to look beautiful.
the design and colors and stuff?
Yes. Everything, we bought everything already,
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve this petition.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you for your patience this evening. Okay, we are going to see if petition number 1, which is a petition for, I'm sorry, is it petition?
5.
Yes, thank you. I had it.
Travis.
Agenda's too much paperwork. Petition number 5, Travis Wallen, are you here? Okay,
No,
I
he's
do not see the petitioner, so if I might ask that you would contact the petitioner and see if they would like to be continued to June, or perhaps they need additional time. I would appreciate that. Is there any further new business in front of the board?
No, ma'am.
Attorney Volz, do you have any business with us?
He's just laughing. This ain't good.
No, Madam President.
Make a motion.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you.